Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Raymond Eragas, 21 years old, Bachelor of Science and Information Technology. I am a third year college student, studied at Negros Oriental State University, Dumaguete City, main campus 1. So, I am here today because I want to discuss about the biodiversity. I am the one who continued topic about climate by Kit O. Rinaldo together with my group members Roslyn Palomar and Nino Jose Quezon. So I am discussing today about the what is biodiversity, types of biodiversity, and the importance of biodiversity, and threats to biodiversity, and the last one, how to protect our biodiversity. And now we're discussing about what is biodiversity. So biodiversity is the biological variety and variability of Earth. So it also refers to all the variety of life that can be found on Earth, like for example plants, animals, fungi, and microorganisms, as well as to communities that they form and the habitats in which they live. So here are the three types of biological diversity. The first is the species diversity, the second is genetic diversity, and the third one is the ecosystem diversity. So these three levels work together to create a complexity of life on Earth. And first is species diversity. So species diversity, it refers to the variety of different species, and genetic diversity, it is corresponds to the variety of genes contained in plant, animal, fungi, and microorganisms. And the last one is the ecosystem diversity. It is refers to all the different habitats that exist, like tropical or temperate forests, hot and cold deserts, wetlands, rivers, mountain, and coral reef, or and etc. So now let's move to what is the importance of biodiversity. So biodiversity is important to the most aspect of our lives. We value the biodiversity for many reasons. Some are utilitarian, some are intrinsic. So this this means we value biodiversity both for what it provides to humans and for the value it has on its own right. So now let's move to what is utilitarian. So utilitarian is values includes the many basic needs humans obtain from biodiversity, such as food, fuel, shelter, and medicine. So for further information, ecosystem provides crucial services such as pollination, spin spiral, climate regulation, water purification, nutrient cycling, and control of agricultural pests. So biodiversity also yet recognized, such as new medicine and another possible unknown service. So what is intrinsic? Intrinsic is a value of biodiversity, refers to its inherent worth, which is independent of each value to anyone or anything else. So this is more of philosophical concept which can be taught as an unalienable right to exist. So finally, the value of biodiversity can also be understood through the lens of the relationship we form and strive for with each other and the rest of nature. So we may be value biodiversity because of how it shapes who we are, our relationship to each other, and social norms. These relationships, these relational values as part of the people's individuals or collective sense of connection with the environment, and the different value plays and the different value placed on biodiversity are important because they can influence the conversation decision people make every day. So here are the some traits of biodiversity. So over the last century, humans have come to dominate the planet, causing rapid ecosystems change and massive loss of biodiversity across the planet. So major direct threats to biodiversity includes habitat loss and fragmentation, unsustainable resources use, massive species pollution, and global climate change. So one of the primary threats to biodiversity is habitat loss. So this can be through clear cutting forests, polluting oceans, or anything that alters the natural habitat. We harvest large amount of natural resources, and when this is not done sustainability, it has disastrous consequences. So all of these threats put serious strain on the diversity of species on Earth. So according to the International Union of Conservation or of Nature or IUCN, global amount one-third of all species are threatened with extinction. So this includes 29% of all amphibians, 21% of mammals, and 12% of all birds. If we do not stop the threats to biodiversity, we could be facing another mass extinctions with dire consequences to our environment and human health and livelihood. So there I have here 10 ways so how we can protect our biodiversity. The first one is the government legislation. The second one is nature preserves. The third one is reducing amount of invasive species, habitat restoration, captive breeding and seed banks, research, reduce climate change, purchase sustainable products, sustainable living, education. So the first is the government legislation. So government legislation have the power to control what is done to the habitats within their country. So it controls the government, and it protecting our natural environment is one of the most effective ways of protecting biodiversity. So government legislation is one who protect of our biodiversity. And the second one is nature preserves. So nature preserves are a form of government regulation and are often known as a national park. When we say national park, this is a nature preserves. They preserves our biodiversity. And the third one is reducing amount of invasive species. So invasive species are sometimes introduced to one area on purpose, but also sometimes by accident. So and now the five is habitat restoration. After an area is damaged by human, in fact, we can try to return it our natural state. So when we cutting trees, we try to replace it to prevent biodiversity loss. That's one example how to prevent biodiversity. And it's also in the ocean. Please always clean to help our biodiversity. And number five is captive breeding and seed banks. Captive breeding is when animals is captivity or often at zoos are bred. So we are bred at zoos. So number seven is research. This is important because research is understanding how species interact with their environmental is crucial to protecting them. And number eight is reduce climate change. So as we know, climate change has disastrous consequences for all living things on Earth. We use huge amount of fossil fuels, which directly cause climate change. So we need to move away from fossil fuels and towards alternative energy sources. and natural or sustainable products, reducing the effects of climate change requirements of worldwide efforts. So, like what we said, like what we said, our first reporter, Kate Q. Rinaldo, that if you to reduce climate change, if you have a work in Dumaguete and you live in an land, so you need to stay or rent in Dumaguete to reduce climate change. That's one example. And to purchase sustainability product, many food products are now labeled with eco labels that state if we are environmental friendly. So some of the most prominent eco labels are Energy Star, USD Organic, and Rainforest Alliance certified. So the USDO, United States Department of Agriculture, certified organic seal is a stamp of approval that the farm of a business is in compliance with the rules and you can trust it. So, and the Energy Star is the trusted government backed symbol for energy efficiency, uh, helping us all save money and protect the environmental through energy efficiency product and practice. And the Reinforced Alliance is to protect forests, improve the livelihood of farmers and forest communities. So promote their human rights and help them mitigate and adapt to climate crisis. So we are now in nine sustainable living. So sustainable living is something that we can each choose to do on a daily basis. So whether it be by taking shorter showers, riding a bike to work, or buying eco-build products, it helps reduce amount of resources we use. So, and the last one is the education. So, as what the most environmental topics, so education is one of the keys to success. Educating people about the importance of biodiversity conservation, increase public awareness of the issue. One of the greatest threats to diversity is habitat loss. So you can play a part in particular the diversity of your local community by creating a certified wildlife habitat. A certified wildlife habitat provides food, shelter, water, and a place for native wildlife to raise young, the essential elements of habitat that wildlife need to survive. So that's why we need to help biodiversity in your own backyard. So let's start now. We encourage you to start helping our biodiversity and to reduce climate change, because our biodiversity now is we are in a loss, biodiversity loss or habitat destruction. So we need to start help biodiversity in our own backyard to prevent biodiversity or habitat destruction and climate change. So that's all, guys. Thank you.